Our Eurotour started with a flight to Milan via Baku. The flight was quite smooth and stable, despite the outdated plane. We took a train from Sayar Airport to the center of Milan, transferred to the metro, and found ourselves in the very center of Milan. Our eyes ran wild at what we saw, and for a while we forgot that we needed to go to the hotel. After wandering a bit disoriented around the center, we arrived at our lodging, the so-called house with the green door. It is located 5 minutes from the Milan Cathedral. This is a very old 19th century building, a somewhat strange apartment, the same downstairs in the basement. The heating was off, and we were quite cold. After settling in, we hurried to find a place to eat well. We found an excellent restaurant with a gorgeous view of the Duomo of Milan, the historical city center. The meal was very tasty and surprisingly inexpensive, despite the restaurant's location. After a delicious lunch, we decided to try the local ice cream despite the cool weather. The ice cream cost €4. The portion was very large, like our 2.5 scoops, and the ice cream itself was incredibly delicious. We had never tried anything like it anywhere. Very rich, and you can taste the flavor of real chocolate gelato. Having tasted the incredible dessert, we went for a walk around the city. Wherever you turn here, there is beauty everywhere, and you can feel the artist's hand. You want to talk about this city with poetry and sing Italian songs from the 80s? Unique architecture and everything handmade. Milan is a city that many associate with high fashion and the strict rhythm of business. But as soon as you step onto its main square, the modern hustle and bustle gives way to eternity. Here, in the very center of Lombardy, beats the historical pulse of Italy. In front of us is the Duomo di Milano, the legendary Milanese cathedral. This is not just a cult structure, it is a monumental monument to human perseverance. It was built over almost 6 centuries. The first stone was laid back in 1386, and the final finishing touches were added only in the 20th century. Look at this facade. It seems airy and almost weightless. This illusory white castle is carved from rare pink marble, which has been brought here for centuries from the quarries of Candoli, through specially dug canals. If you turn your back to the cathedral and look at the center of the square, we will see how on the sun-heated stones an important historical moment is frozen in time. This is in memory of King Victor Emmanuel II, the first ruler of unified Italy. Sculptor Ercole Rosa depicted the monarch on horseback in the midst of the fate of the Battle of Solferino, when the king restrains his faithful steed during a crushing attack. At the foot of the monument lie 2 formidable bronze lions. The marble pedestal tells the story of the Piedmontese troops entering Milan. Just a few steps from the royal monument lies another 19th century masterpiece named after the same monarch, the Gallery of Victor Emmanuel II. Milanese lovingly call it the living room of the city. Designed by architect M. Giuseppe Mengoni, this is the oldest shopping gallery in the world, connecting the Piazza del Duomo with the square of the famous La Scala Theatre. Raise your eyes and the incredibly glass dome and steel arches, which were ahead of their time, becoming a triumph of engineering thought. And on your feet are elegant mosaics with the coats of arms of the 4 main cities of Italy. Milan is an introverted city, and to truly fall in love with it, you need to learn to look behind the heavy oak doors. This city knows how to amaze with contrasts. Here you can buy a ticket for an old tram from the early 20th century with wooden seats, and arrange a trip for 3, with a course at the price of a regular fare. The history of Milan is a ready-made plot for a large-scale historical series. The city was completely destroyed several times. It managed to be the capital of the Roman Empire, passed from hand to hand of great dynasties, and eventually turned into the main economic engine. Here are the main turning points that shaped the character of Milan. More than 2,000 years ago, the Celts founded the settlement of Mediolanum here, a city in the center of the plain. The Romans quickly appreciated its strategic position. In the 3rd century, Milan became so powerful that it overshadowed Rome and became the official capital of the Western Roman Empire. It was here that the historic Edict of Milan was signed, legalizing Christianity, so the spirit of a global center of power was originally laid in these streets. Throughout its history, Milan has survived dozens of sieges. was destroyed to the ground by Emperor Barbarossa, and suffered greatly from the bombings of World War II. And every time he rose from the ashes, betting not on past glory, but on work, technology, and progress. The paradox of Milan is that its main treasure does not seek to attract attention. The legendary La Scala theater sparkles. It is a separate quest. We did not get lost, but passed by it several times. When you go to a building of world-class scale, you subconsciously expect loud pompousness, colonnades, or monumentality. But La Scala is arranged differently. Its facade is strict, restrained, almost ascetic. It perfectly blends with the surrounding urban development. A few steps from the bustling Terrena, Milan sharply changes its rhythm. Via Lupetta. A tiny street hidden in the shadow of buildings where time seems to slow down. Here at a summer cafe table, the paradox of this city is felt especially strongly. The air mixes the aroma of strong coffee and the centuries-old coolness coming from the walls of the nearby church of St. Alexander and in Zobedia. The air is filled with the aroma of strong coffee and the ancient coolness and the spirit of the walls of the old church, San Alessandro and Zebedeo. Its ornate facade literally hangs over the alley, reminding of times when the city lived by the ringing of bells, not by smartphone notifications. This is not the Milan that rushes somewhere, rustling shopping bags from boutiques. This is local Milan. People come here to escape the crazy rhythm of the metropolis, slow down and observe how the sun slowly walks along the horizon, leaving the streets with their stories. Arriving in Milan on May 1st, we didn't expect anything special, but the city prepared a surprise for us. It was pleasant and unexpected to learn that May 1st in Italy is not just a formal date on the calendar, but a large, lively and incredibly atmospheric holiday, which is celebrated here on a grand scale. We went out into the streets and immediately found ourselves in the epicenter of events. The city, which is usually associated with strict style and business suits, literally blossomed. All around are thousands of people, families here and there, laughter, endless lines of flags and banners. The energy of solidarity and celebration is felt physically here. Throughout the center, stages and live sound of local rock jazz bands are scattered and connected. The air is saturated with the mood of freedom, good music, and the aroma of street food. Italians know how to turn a demonstration into real art, live without pomp, very sincerely and openly. For us, this day was a complete surprise, and perhaps one of the brightest and warmest impressions of spring Milan. Milan can surprise. Right behind the monumental royal palace in the shadow of its grandeur, hides a real medieval treasure, which not all travelers know about. Built back in the 14th century by order of the ruler Otton Visconti, its strict yet elegant facade and red brickwork are a stunning example of Lombard Gothic. Time seems to have frozen on its walls, remembering the dawn and intrigues of the Milanese court. The main pride of the temple is its magnificent octagonal bell tower. At its time it was so striking that it gave its name to the entire district. It was here that the first public clock in the city was once installed. A true marvel of engineering thought of that era. You can wander aimlessly through the old quarters, turn into inconspicuous arches, but the city itself will quietly guide your steps. Because all roads lead to the cathedral, which for centuries has drawn Milan's energy to itself. Such planning is not an accident, but a living history. For centuries, the radial streets converged to the heart of the medieval city, to its main cathedral and market square. The houses were built so that it could be seen from everywhere, becoming the main landmark for both pilgrims and merchants. Well, our Milan adventure has come to an end. And for us, 2 days was catastrophically little. I want to say a huge thank you to this city. It exceeded all expectations. We sincerely loved its strictness and hidden courtyards and its ability to relax. Honestly, let's be honest, visiting all the attractions of Milan when you are traveling with children is a separate increased level of difficulty. There was catastrophically not enough time, and the children's requests for ice cream and rest constantly made adjustments to our strict and shooting schedule. We managed far from everything, but perhaps that's even for the better. We will definitely come back here to leisurely describe the details you left in the margins. Thank you for going through this journey with us. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss our next trips. There's a lot of interesting things ahead. See you in new cities.